Kenichi Hamada, a 38-year-old manga artist burned out by city life, moves back to the countryside, only to be suddenly transported into a mysterious forest in another world. There, he discovers he can still access his favorite online shopping site, Shangri-La, and uses modern goods to survive after looting items from a nearby corpse. He eventually reaches the city of Dahlia, where an inn worker named Azela teaches him the local language and economy. After he gifts her sweets and a portrait, she spends the night with him. The next day, Kenichi registers with the Merchants Guild and opens a stall, quickly attracting attention with his exotic wares, including from the cat beast woman Mayare, the knight North Pole, and merchant heiress Primora. Meanwhile, in a nearby forest, a ragged girl named Anemone desperately flees an unseen pursuer. Kenichi begins selling glass baubles, a luxury in this world, quickly drawing attention. Mayare and her fellow cat beast women ask for spices, and though he has none, he cooks for them and invites merchant Amana to join. Jealous when she finds her hairs on his clothes. Primora brings Kenichi to her father Malo, and they strike a business deal for regular supplies. Kenichi then starts building a house in the forest, clearing trees with a chainsaw, and removing stumps using a mini excavator fueled with lamp oil, since Shangri-La doesn't sell diesel. He buys an insect-repelling stone and learns from Amana to beware the bandit leader Shaga. Meanwhile, the runaway girl Anemone is captured by slavers, only for their wagon to be attacked by Shaga's gang. Shaga and his bandits torment their captured slaves, including Anemone, before Shaga receives a mysterious letter. Meanwhile, Kenichi buys a log cabin and assembles it with help from Mayare and her friends, leaving Azela saddened that he won't stay at the inn anymore. While out biking, he's attacked by dog beastmen but scares them off with a slingshot and fireworks. Then, rescues an injured bobcat. With Miyare's help, Spy to buy high-quality steel and casually mentions a mage who killed a dragon using summoned mayonnaise, leaving Kenichi completely baffled. A month later, Shaga's gang kidnaps Primora. Malo begs for help, but only Kenichi, the bobcat Mayare, and her trio, North Pole, the old man, and Amana volunteer, while everyone else mocks them. Kenichi buys a pickup truck and arms the group with modern magic. Then they camp for the night. Mayare scouts ahead using a radio while her friends give Kenichi a drug that boosts his courage. At the bandit base, Mayare silently eliminates the guards, the old man blasts the gate open, and the whole team, even the bobcat, charges in. Kenichi smashes through with his mini excavator, accidentally freeing the slaves, leading Anemone to believe he's a god. A noble hired Shaga to kidnap Primora. The group returns to camp and rests after their victory. Kenichi returns Primora safely to Malo, and several freed slaves who lost their families choose to work for him. Since Anemone's village is far away and her family abandoned her, she stays with the group. After selling the bandits' loot and collecting bounties, Amana decides to raise Anemone. But the girl insists she wants to stay with Kenichi, so he becomes her guardian. A month later, North Pole arrests the noble behind Primora's kidnapping and is promoted to baron, while Primora and Malo invent a Dracene inspired by Kenichi and gain nobility themselves. Cloaked kidnappers attempt to capture Kenichi and Anemone, but he drives them off with fireworks and a crossbow. Though Malo advises seeking help from Count Asclepius, Kenichi has packed everything into Shangri-La and escaped with Anemone and the bobcat on a motorcycle. Kenichi, Anemone, and their newly named bobcat Belle settle near Estrantia, where Kenichi begins teaching Anemone reading, writing, and math. Mayare tracks them down and moves in, sharing news that North Pole proposed to Primora. Impressed by Kenichi's picture book of the Little Mermaid, Mayare inspires him to create illustrated versions of local fairy tales which delight the girls. Croton and Nyanyas from the nearby village of Santanka investigate him but trust him after seeing Belle, and Croton buys several books for his daughter Mary. Mayare later seduces Kenichi. To refine biodiesel, Kenichi registers with the Estrantia Guild and buys equipment and a grimoire from the witch Snowflake. When thugs threaten Croton and Mary, Kenichi scares them off with fireworks. Anemone and Mary become close friends and help him make more books, but Mary soon falls gravely ill. Kenichi's medicine isn't enough, and Snowflake reveals the cure requires rare flower seeds. Kenichi, Croton, and Nyanyas search for them, unaware the thugs are plotting revenge at Croton's home. Belle follows Kenichi, Croton, and Nyanyas as they search for the cure-bearing flower, but they're ambushed by wolves controlled by a dogman working with the thugs. Kenichi helps Croton and Nyanyas escape with the flower. Then, a giant bear appears, injures the dogman, and scatters the wolves. Kenichi defeats the bear using his excavator and treats the dogman's wounds, learning the thugs will never stop targeting Croton. After Mary is healed, Kenichi suggests Croton's family relocate to North Pole's estate. The dogman eliminates the thugs to repay his debt and leaves town. Kenichi finishes refining biodiesel and sells the bear's corpse, though Snowflake warns the grimoire is useless without magic. Primora arrives furious he left without a word. Later, Kenichi fails to cast a fireball spell, but Anemone tries it and instantly unleashes a massive fireball. Anemone's accidental fireball starts a blaze that's quickly extinguished, but she collapses with a fever. Kenichi nurses her back to health with canned peaches. They host a barbecue for Mary and her mother Cineria, and after tasting his food and seeing his picture books, Primora begins selling them in Estrantia with Mary and Cineria's help. Two troublemakers try to cause a scene by planting a fly in their food, but a tiger beast woman named Nyamina exposes them and drives them off, earning herself a job as Primora's bodyguard. Nyamina moves in, sparking jealousy in Miare. Anemone recovers enough to cast fireballs at will and dreams of becoming an adventurer. Kenichi discovers gemstones in a cliff and mines them enthusiastically. Nyamina attempts to seduce him, but Miare intervenes. Business grows so much that Primora hires a girl named Iris to run a second restaurant. Meanwhile, in the capital, Princess Lilith and her mother hear of Kenichi's exploits and take an interest in him. Primora meets Viscountess Kanan while Kenichi buys new grimoires from Snowflake. When Primora mentions Kanin wanted a brooch, Kenichi crafts one engraved with her likeness, instantly sparking jealousy among the girls. Later, Kenichi, Anemone, Miare, and Belle explore a gem-filled cave, but are forced to flee from a giant spider immune to arrows and too terrifying for Anemone to fight. After training Anemone with a new grimoire, they return with Nyamina and kill the male spider using insecticide and fireballs, only for an even larger female to appear. Resistant to everything, it's finally defeated by Anemone's new explosion spell and Kenichi's excavator. After cooking the spider egg, Kenichi teaches the girls how to make cheese. Primora uses the recipe to win Kanan's favor, explaining that thugs hired by merchant Thogoram have been harassing her restaurants. Kanan immediately issues a decree stopping the harassment, and later visits Kenichi's home herself. Kanan reveals that the king ordered her family to build a canal, but they're far behind schedule. She offers her body in exchange for Kenichi's help, but he settles for a new grimoire instead. At the construction site, Kenichi discovers Miare's 3 friends working with overpriced tools from Thogoram's company, so he supplies better equipment and speeds up the project using his excavator. He even relocates his cabin and cooks for the workers. Kanan repeatedly to stop. The canal is completed, and Kenichi amazes the royal court with his abilities at the opening ceremony. Primora deduces that someone in the court hired Shaga to kidnap her. Kanan's husband thanks Kenichi and learns picture book making from him, admitting he lacks the resources to stop Thogoram's harassment. Kenichi promises to handle it. Back home with the new grimoire, Anemone gets jealous when Primora wins the right to bathe with Kenichi. Princess Lilith and her mother discuss Kenichi's incredible canal-building feat and decide they must meet him. Meanwhile, the family speculates that Anemone may have inherited magic from her mother, though she has no interest in finding her. After learning a barrier spell, Mallow arrives to help confront Thogoram, and Kenichi asks for permission to marry Primora, which Mallow grants. Croton, Nyanyas, and North Pole join the fight. Belle convinces the catfolk thugs to abandon Thogoram, while the remaining human and dogfolk thugs are defeated. North Pole even kills the one who shot Belle. Kenichi summons his excavator to smash Thogoram's house, forcing him to surrender. Kanan's husband exiles Thogoram, and Mallow takes over his business. As he leaves, Thogoram warns that Primora will still be targeted. A royal decree then orders Kenichi to appear before the king. Kanan and her husband warn that ignoring it could provoke an attack on Estrantia. After Anemone says goodbye to Mary, the family heads to the capital. Princess Lilith welcomes Kenichi's family to the capital and explains the king will meet them in a few months. After joyriding in his car and excavator and enjoying the luxuries of his cabin, she decides to stay with him, enraging her servants and making Anemone jealous. A furious knight attacks Kenichi for getting too close to the princess, but he blocks with a riot shield while Anemone blasts him with spells until Lilith orders him to stop. Belle, Miare, and Nyamina sense something strange in the castle. Lilith gives Kenichi's curry to the royal cook to replicate, then watches them jealously from her window. Kenichi exterminates rats in the basement, and Lilith later asks him to deal with ghosts, which he tracks down using holy water and the girl's senses. discovering the queen's flower vase is the source. Lilith grants Kenichi and Anemone access to the royal library, where he copies every book. The king's court mocks Kenichi and his family for their plain appearance and beast folk companions. For entertainment, the king and queen force him into a duel against the royal mage Melissa Rana Nasturtium, who summons a dragon. With Anemone's powerful spells and Kenichi's giant excavator, they defeat it, forcing Melissa to surrender. When Anemone collapses from exhaustion, Kenichi snaps and threatens the court through a megaphone for endangering his family. Lilith tries to calm him by offering marriage, but he refuses, giving her a rare pearl necklace instead. The queen, Amaranth, demands one too, and even invites him to her bed, but he only accepts her old furniture. She reveals the cursed vase was part of an anti-royal assassination plot. Outside, Melissa tells Anemone she once knew her mother, Ameria, and encourages her magical growth. Kenichi is granted the title of Baron. The family heads home in a van, joined by Lilith and her maid Melon. On the road, they meet Fuyu again. That night, as they eat, Kenichi wonders about the mysterious mayonnaise mage who is shown happily cooking with his bizarre power.